guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Karina, and today we're making crock pot sloppy joes. So let's go ahead and get started. These are the ingredients. I'm using 1 pound of ground turkey, 2 red bell peppers. We're also using barbecue sauce, and this is just a Sweet Baby Ray's. We're also using some pasta sauce for kind of the base of it. You can use tomato paste if you prefer, but I like pasta sauce. And then we just have some seasonings: pepper, salt, chopped onion, and a little bit of chili powder to give it a little bit of a kick. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, the very first thing we're going to do is brown our ground turkey. That will go into the crock pot, but we want to make sure that it's cooked through first. Make sure not to overcook it while you're doing this, but you do want to cook it a bit, just so that it doesn't, go into the crock pot raw. That would be weird. So for this, I'm just going to add a little bit of pasta sauce to the ground turkey. This helps to keep it nice and moist while you're cooking it, which this is a great tip for ground turkey anytime that you use it, because it does dry out a little bit faster. It doesn't have as much fat as like ground beef, so it can be a little bit dry. So I use a little bit of a sauce or a paste in it when I'm cooking with it. And then I'm just going to season it as well, so just some salt and pepper and a little bit of chopped onion as well. Alright guys, so while the ground turkey is browning, I'm going to work on our bell peppers. So I just take out the center of the pepper, and I'm going to start chopping it up. And of course, you want to make sure that you wash these prior to cutting them to make sure that they've gotten all the icky stuff off of them. And now I'm just removing all of the seeds. I don't know if you can tell from the sink, but I had a lot of seeds falling out there. And I'm just going to start chopping it. So I like to cut mine in half and work with each half at a time, and then I'll cut it into strips, and then each of the strips into little bitty pieces. And I kind of gather the strips together and just kind of do a rough chop on them. I am by no means great with my knife skills. My husband is really good with knife skills, but I just kind of do it and get it done. So I'm just chopping these up. You want them to be fairly small so that the bell pepper and the ground turkey ends up about the same size with your sloppy joes. So keep that in mind while you're chopping them. They will be quite little. Go ahead and add it into the crock pot, and just go ahead and layer it all inside of the crock pot there. And here I'm doing the same with the second pepper, just to get all that in there. And it looks like quite a bit, but compared to the turkey, it ends up being a really good amount. It ends up being pretty even. So here we go. So these are all the bell peppers in the crock pot, and I'm just going to season them. So I'm adding pepper, and I'm going to add some salt as well. And next is my chopped onion. You could add like real onions if you wanted to. My hubby's not a big fan of onions, so I try to avoid that when I'm cooking. And then I add some chili powder as well. And then over the bell peppers, I'm going to add our pasta sauce and barbecue sauce as well. So this will start the base. Ooh. And here we go. So the pasta sauce does kind of cover the bell peppers, and then the barbecue sauce I just added a bit here, and I'm going to add just a little bit more on the top as well. I ended up adding a little bit too much sauce, you guys, so I would be a little bit more conservative than what I was. I kind of went overboard, so yeah, just keep that in mind. But I really did just eyeball it. I just tried to make sure that everything was nice and covered. So now my ground turkey is nice and brown, and we can add it into the crock pot as well. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And you want to be careful to make sure that it all gets in there and that you don't burn yourself or anything like that. And once the ground turkey is in the crock pot, I'm going to work on combining everything together. So just go ahead and give it a good stir. And it doesn't look so like wet at this point, but anything that you put into the crock pot, it's going to kind of pull out the liquids as it's cooking, so it's going to get more of a sauce on it as it cooks. So you can see my the combination that we have here right now, and compared to what we have at the end, you guys will see that there's quite a big difference. So I did add a little bit of barbecue sauce, and maybe that's where I went overboard, because I felt like it looked a little bit dry, so I should have known that it would kind of cook down as far as the sauce goes. And just a little bit of extra seasoning. You know, with making anything in the crock pot, I feel like you can never have too much seasoning really, so I just season to taste and season based on what I think it will need. And you know, you kind of know like your family's taste as far as seasonings go, so you'll be able to determine that and judge that much better than I can for you. So now that that's all combined and seasoned really nicely, I'm going to go ahead and add the lid and cook it on low. So we went to church this day. This was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and we went to church right after this, and we came back around 1 o'clock, 1:30 maybe. So our sloppy joes cooked for about 4.5 hours. So now I'm just taking the lid off, and when we came in, it smelled so good. I could tell everything was ready and that would be perfect. And you guys can see how much more liquidy this whole mixture is. But it's all done. So all I've done to create like the rest of our sloppy joes is I toasted some buns and added some cheese to them. And I'm just going to add sloppy joe mix to the buns here. And we will be good to go. I'm kind of trying to drain off some of the sauce because, yeah, they were a little bit too saucy. And, of course, they're going to be messy already. I mean, that's what the name implies, but they were a little saucier than I anticipated. But hopefully you guys can tell that the bell peppers and the ground turkey, it's about the same size ratio. So that's really what I like when I'm making something like this or something like chili. I like for things to be about the same size so that when you're eating it, there's not like a huge chunk of like a vegetable. As you're eating, it's just kind of all uniform, which is really nice. It makes it really easy, and it helps for people to not notice the vegetables as much, which is nice. Alright friends, so that is really it. This plate was actually for our 17-year-old that hangs around. He just turned 17 actually. So yeah, we are just going to have lunch, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Be sure to let me know if you make this. I would love to see how it turns out. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like the video, and don't forget to subscribe.